Welcome back to the Cycle Starters podcast, where we explore ancestral healing, generational patterns, and the brave souls who are choosing to start new cycles in their lineages. Today, I am so thrilled to be joined by Jessica Leah Berger, whose journey is deeply rooted in both modern wellness and ancestral wisdom. As the grandchild of Holocaust survivors and someone who has made her mark in luxury hospitality and precision medical care, Jessica brings a unique perspective on healing across generations. From her work at the prestigious Sydenham Clinic in Beverly Hills to her background in alternative medicine and ancient healing modalities, Jessica embodies the intersection of traditional wisdom and contemporary wellness. She's here to share her personal story of ancestral healing and how she's working to transform generational patterns. But before we start our conversation, I do have a favor to ask. If you're enjoying the content here on the Cycle Starters podcast, please like, subscribe, comment, and share our channel with your networks. It really helps the algorithm get our episodes in front of more people and supports the growth of the channel. So thank you in advance for that. I really appreciate it. Now, grab a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and get ready for a powerful conversation about ancestry, healing, and the courage it takes to start new cycles. Let's welcome Jessica Leah Berger. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying yes to being on the podcast. It's wonderful to see you. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm enjoying this June gloom in Los Angeles. I love it. I've
Yeah.
been waking up really early and going on walks in the morning in the June gloom, and it's been really nice.
Awesome. All right. Well, so gosh, let's start this conversation. I think the best place to begin is having you share about your ancestral background. So, what can you share with us about your ancestry?
Sure. So I am Czechoslovakian, Russian, Polish, and Syrian, but my ancestry that I feel the most connected to would be on my dad's side, which is my Czech side. Both my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. My grandmother was in Auschwitz.
Hmm.
She made a testimonial tape, and I actually just saw it this weekend for the second time. It's been out for 30 years. She filmed it when I was 10 years old or 9 years old, and I just saw it for the very second time this weekend. It was a long format. It was an hour and 30 minutes long. It was part of the Shoah Foundation that Steven Spielberg spearheaded with USC. And hers was a longer format because they went into her house and filmed her. And my grandfather had a tape as well. So I just feel like being a grandchild of two Holocaust survivors has really made an impact on my life and made me kind of view the world in a different way.
Thank you for sharing that. I can only imagine that that was a very tender moment watching her video, right, her testimonial for the second time. Thank you for watching it. I know we had some discussions about it pre-podcast, so I just really appreciate you kind of diving back into her story and her
Yeah.
life. So, yeah, that's really special and I really appreciate it. So, what was that like watching that video for the second time? I mean, what can you share with us about that experience?
Yeah. So it was a different experience that I had. The first time I saw it, I was 15 or 16. I was in high school. And she was sitting in the room while we were watching
Mm,
it, me and my sisters, and kind of looking at us as we were watching it, which was really
yeah.
uncomfortable. And she had not spoken about her experiences at all throughout our whole childhood, and then kind of dropped the tape on us. I mean, we knew that she was a survivor, but we never knew what she went through. And I, watching it the second time, I don't remember like 80% of it. I was just like, whoa, I think it hit me on a different level now that I kind of understand the world in a bigger place and what's going on currently, to really hear her story and to learn more about what she went through.
Yeah, that really must have been intense to be watching it with her watching you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
watching your reactions.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, in terms of ancestral healing, when did this concept even enter your consciousness? When did you realize, oh, things can be passed down through generations, but also I have the power to change these cycles? I have the power to start new cycles in my family.
That's a good question. I think you kind of brought it to the surface, but I heard about it I used to meditate at Unplugged Meditation in Santa Monica, and one of the meditation teachers kind of touched on it. I don't remember the context, but it really kind of hit home because my dad's life was completely affected by it, and then so was mine and my sister's as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, so what do you feel like the patterns are that you're breaking in this lifetime?
I guess the isolation that she felt and how she kind of bottled everything in. I'm trying not to do that. I'm not sure. My dad was the only child because my grandma lost her whole entire family. My grandfather had a sister who moved to Australia. So my dad grew up with no aunts, no uncles, no cousins, no grandparents. It was just his parents, and he was the only child. So he had a lot weighing on him to be the perfect son. He went to law school at UCLA. He moved to America when he was 10 and spoke 7 languages and was
Wow.
working really, really hard at school to kind of please his parents. But my grandmother was very, I don't want to say possessive, that's not the right word, but she was very concerned and worried about him at all times. She would triple
Hmm.
check the locks always, even when we were little. When we would sleep over, she would come and check on us like every 20 minutes. I would hear her tiptoe, and
Wow.
maybe that's an exaggeration, but she would check on us all night long. She like couldn't sleep because we were in the house, and she wanted to make sure that we were still breathing, that we were okay.
Yeah.
She had a lot of anxiety, and I never thought of it as her having a mental health condition. I just assumed it was because of her experiences in Auschwitz. But I think my sisters perhaps suffer from anxiety and a little bit from depression too, and so do I. And I think definitely that has been passed down from her experiences. And my dad felt very isolated. He had like one friend, spent a lot of time alone. He was just kind of not an outcast, but just kind of like a lonely guy because he wasn't able to like have like a full experience as like a college student or have a full experience as a youth because he was so worried about his parents that he had to spend a lot of time with them to make sure that they were okay at all times.
My goodness. I mean, it's understandable that your grandmother would be anxious, right? That she would be on high alert after having gone through such a traumatic experience. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you sharing your family history in this way because I know this is a sensitive, delicate, very tender topic. Yeah, it just really means a lot to me to have you sharing this
Yeah.
story. Well,
And I feel
so
like it's not a I don't wanna say it's not a unique story because my story is probably, different than other people's stories, but growing up in Los Angeles and having a lot of my friends who are Jewish or from Temple or, growing up, they're all grandchildren of Holocaust survivors as well. One of my really good friends, Merrick, his grandfather talked about it, processed it, thrived in his later years, dated, went to wood shop, ceramics, he had whole social life activities, whereas my grandmother bottled everything up inside and didn't really talk about it to anyone. And it's a horrible way to live because you just feel so sick and anxious and all the time. And she mentioned in the tape that her and her friends would, after the war, when they were in Los Angeles years later, they'd be like a dinner party, and then all of a sudden the memory of what happened would just kind of like come to surface, and her and her friends would just all were in it together. So they kind of uh, I don't wanna say ruin the evening, but it was something that never went away. She would always think about it.
mm, my goodness. And so she passed recently, is that right?
She passed in 2017 at 93.
Wow, that's a
Mhm.
long life.
Yes.
Well, so do any of your family members know that you're on the
No,
podcast
I
today?
haven't told a single soul. I haven't told anyone. No one. Yeah.
Well, they'll find out, I guess.
But yes, they will.
Well, so, you know, you're bringing up the anxiety and the depression is making me think about your background in alternative healing modalities. And now you're working for the Sydenham Clinic in Beverly Hills. So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey? Like, how did you get to this place where you're working at this amazing longevity clinic in Beverly Hills? What's that been like for you?
Right, so there's 2 parts to the story. I had chronic pain growing up, which
Mhm.
could have possibly been inherited generationally. So I visited a lot of alternative medicine practitioners, mostly chiropractors that were naturopaths, functional medicine practitioners. They didn't just do chiropractic services. They did supplements and blood tests and genetic testing and biofeedback and all these different things. So it kind of piqued my interest in what else was out there besides Western medicine. And these little things were really helpful to me because I have a sensitive system. Like I have a chiropractor who I was walking and my foot didn't feel right. And I went to see him and he's like, oh, your left toe is out of alignment. I'm like, what kind of other doctor would know how to do that? And he adjusted my left toe and then I can walk again. So that kind of planted the seed. And then I worked in hospitality for 7 years. And when I was at the Four Seasons, I was from Los Angeles and not many other of my coworkers were. So I knew the city very well. I had lived a healthy lifestyle. So a lot of the guests were coming to me for advice on where to eat, if they had specific diets, what kind of exercise classes I could suggest to them. They were from out of town and they lived healthy lives as well. And they just wanted some recommendations. So my general manager wanted to positioned me as the health and wellness concierge for the Four Seasons Los Angeles. And so I put together a proposal of what the role would have entailed and to position myself as the expert in health and wellness. And then he was going to have me travel to the other properties and teach the concierge about how to do that for their properties. But at the same time, they were building out the Vinoteca at the Four Seasons, which is the wine bar and coffee shop. So that project kind of took priority and I ended up leaving and moving to Paris. And when I got back from Paris, he had planted the seed in my head about wanting to kind of learn more about health and wellness. So I went to nutrition school at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition out of New York during COVID. It was online. And it was a 1-year certificate to become a integrative health coach. So I did that program and I loved it. It really kind of enforced what I already knew, but then kind of put it in a different perspective. So the biggest lesson that I learned from that program was bio-individuality. So what works for you is not going to work for me. Maybe you can't have broccoli and I eat broccoli all day long. Everyone is completely different and it's important to figure out what is best for you. So that leads into the Sydenham Clinic because they are precision medicine, which is similar, but a little different. It's very comprehensive testing that's done to get your baseline. So they do microbiome testing. They do a full body MRI. They do genetic testing, hormonal testing, blood testing to find out where your baseline is at. Because there's some people that can't have vitamin C, for example, because that could lead to a blood clot. But then in Western medicine, they're like, oh, you need your vitamin C, you need your vitamin C. But there's some people that can't have vitamin C. And the same with like other vitamins so it's important to know what you can have and what you should avoid. And Western medicine doesn't have the time to do all of that. Insurance doesn't cover these tests. And at Sydenham, all these tests are included.
Amazing. I can't wait till I can sign up and
Yeah.
be serviced by the folks at the Sydenham Clinic. Like that would be a total dream. I know the space is beautiful and the creator of, this service, this program is amazing. So congratulations on getting that gig. I'm really happy
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Well, so let's see. I think I want to talk some astrology right now. And
Okay.
the reason is because, I am an Ancestral healing guide. So I have a monthly membership called the Ancestral Healing Collective. And it is a sacred space that I've created for female bodied cycle breakers and cycle starters to alchemize deep ancestral wounds into creative potential, spiritual gifts, shifts to higher consciousness, and
Wow.
embodied joy. Yeah, it's pretty rad. It's pretty rad. With astrology and pleasure as transformative medicine. So,
Okay.
for me, astrology is not the be all end all. It's really just an amazing tool. And it's a tool that I engaged with along my ancestral healing journey. So, astrology is an amazing framework and language for understanding and empowering yourself as an energetic being on an ancestral healing journey. So, I don't live and die by it. However, I'm obsessed with it. I love talking about astrology. I'm currently in a training to become a quantum soul guidance practitioner. So that's focused on galactic astrology. So that goes beyond the planets of our solar system and focuses on cosmic points, deep space objects, fixed stars, all these cool things. So I wanted to know from you if you felt comfortable sharing your sun, moon, and rising signs with our community.
Absolutely.
We're
So
good.
I'm a Libra, my rising is Virgo, and
Hmm.
my sun is Sag, right?
Your your sun is in Libra.
Okay.
You're a Virgo rising,
Right.
and your moon is in Sag.
Okay, my moon is in
So
Sag.
So I want to chat about this. So this is cool. So your sun is where you shine. Okay. This is your creative energy. It's your life force energy. It's the special sauce that you mix into everything that you do that distinguishes you from the 11 other signs in the zodiac. And each
Mhm.
sign is a spectrum of psycho spiritual energy with a high expression and a low expression. So your sun is in the sign of Libra. So that's just where the sun was the day that you were born. So Libra is cardinal air. So what that means is cardinal is the initiating thrust of that element. So it's initiating air. So each season begins with a sign in a cardinal modality. And the element of air represents our thoughts, our consciousness, our beliefs, our communication. So it's intellectual, but Libra is ruled by the planet Venus, the goddess of love and money and pleasure. And so Libra is really focused on creating beauty and harmony and balance and justice. So the lower expression, however, though, is people pleasing,
Mhm.
because sometimes Libra energy is overly concerned with making everybody else happy, that they will suppress their own desires, their needs, their wants in order to not rock the boat. So I want to hear from you. What's it been like to have your son in Libra? What can you share with us about it?
Yes, so I think that has set me up for a hospitality career of 7 years, and that's hotel hospitality, and I'm still doing hospitality in my current role. People pleasing is definitely part of it, but it's also about protecting your own energy.
Yeah.
So when I was at the hotel, I had a pink crystal quartz in my pocket that sometimes I needed to hold on to for dear life, just to,
Yeah.
send the love back to myself. Because we didn't have a chance necessarily, like, it was boom, 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 boom. We didn't have a chance to, like, decompress between interactions. Sometimes there were lines, and there was a phone call and an email and a coworker talking to you and someone in front of you and someone behind that person, and it was fast, and you wanted to please everyone. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense that you would be working at a high end hotel doing this work. Libras are very social
Mhm.
and they love to create beauty, like I said. So I know that the Four Seasons is a very, very beautiful place. I've been to a few locations. I've actually been to that location.
Mhm.
My high school had one of our reunion events there several years ago. So maybe
Very
you were
nice.
working there at the
Where in
time.
the
I don't
hotel was
know.
it?
It was
Was it
like
in the
in a
upstairs?
it was on the main floor, I think.
Okay.
So it was like one of the gathering rooms, like one of the
Mhm.
smaller rooms, but it was quite lovely and the food was
Mhm.
delicious.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so let's talk about your rising sign now. So, your rising sign is really important. It's your perception of reality, it's the lens that you see everything through. And when people first meet you, this is what they pick up on. So, if I were to compare it to the sun sign, like the sun is how you see yourself, your rising sign is really how you are behaviorally, right? This is what people pick up on when they first meet you. So, it's your energetic signature, it's your aura, and it is the vehicle for your divine mission in this life. So, the reason that we ask for folks' birth times when we're doing a natal chart reading is because that's what tells us what your rising sign is, because the rising
Mm.
sign will change throughout the day. So, my dear, you are a Virgo rising. Okay. I'm a Virgo moon, so I can relate
Mhm.
to this so much.
Okay.
Virgo is mutable earth. So, earth is what we use to build the structures that give us security and stability in our lives. And, so that could be money, but it's also our personal values, right? It's like tangible and intangible assets in a way, if you can think about it. And mutable means that it's changeable and adaptable. So every season will end with a sign in a mutable element because it's transitioning us from one season to the next. And Virgo, I would say, is the most intellectual of all the earth signs. And so I'm a Gemini rising, which is mutable air. And I bring that up because Geminis are known for over consuming information. Like we want to read everything, we want to watch everything. We love to consume. We can overconsume. But Virgo, while it's mutable, is just like more practical and more grounded. So Virgo will
Mhm.
be like, I don't want all the information. I just want the most important information. Boil it down and give me the highlights. What do I have to know? So Virgo is known for precision and organization and being, detail oriented. And in general, they just want to make things better. They
Mhm.
really embody this energy of refinement. And then the lower expression of Virgo is being overly perfectionistic and being really hard on themselves and having, some pretty harsh negative self-talk
Mhm.
as well. So this is the energy that people pick up on when they first meet you. And I think your interest in these alternative healing modalities is very Virgo as well. It's a healing sort of healer archetype. And also, it's associated with the virgin, but it's not the virgin that abstains from sex. It's the virgin who is complete unto herself without a man. So it's also
Okay.
the sign of sovereignty. So I'm so curious, does any of that resonate? Like, did any of that land for you?
Yeah, both sides actually. It wasn't my first job, but I guess when I was in high school, I worked at. Have you been to Toast on West 3rd Street?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. I used
I
to
heard
love
it
that place.
closed. I heard it closed.
Oh,
I heard that this week, but I worked there the summer that it opened. And I remember no one asked me to, but I organized all the sugar packets on every table and made sure that they were like all the pink, yellow, and blue were all in that order.
no. Hmm.
So, and I find myself anytime I go anywhere, like sometimes when I'm at a grocery store, I'll just adjust the bottles to make sure the labels are facing forward. Stuff like that. I had like the Air One mentality before Air One was around because they do that at their stores.
You're organized.
Yes.
Virgo loves a spreadsheet.
I actually
Virgo,
don't know Excel. Don't tell anyone.
that is shocking, actually. That is shocking to me. But yeah, no, Virgo is so detail oriented. Everything needs to be in its place. So, you adjusting the bottles on the shelves, organizing the sugar packets on the
Mhm.
tables at Toast makes perfect sense. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can be hard on yourself, though? Do you feel like you have a perfectionistic side?
I have definitely had really bad self-talk and have been really hard on myself, especially when I was younger in high school, trying
Yeah.
to get good grades and get into college. I'm human, so I go through phases or periods where revert back to that. But as of late, my self-talk has just been very positive and I feel very grounded to this earth. I meditate every day. I
Good.
practice TM and it's really kind of changed my perspective and kept me in the present moment. So I don't have that loop, that tape loop of, those negative spinning thoughts.
Love it. That's my cat crying at the door. He wants to go out, but it's not going to happen. So
Mhm.
anyway, okay, cool. Well, so let's talk about your moon now because the moon represents your emotions. It's your emotional core, your emotional inheritance, which includes ancestral wounds, but also the gifts that your ancestors have given you.
Mhm.
And your moon is in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is also mutable like Virgo, but it's
Mhm.
mutable fire. And so fire is our passion, it's inspiration, that creative spark, and it's also intuition. And I'm an Aries sun, so I can relate in a way because I have a lot of fire in my chart as well. I actually have an Aries stellium, which means I have 3 or more planets in one sign or
Mm.
one house. So I have a lot of fire. Sagittarius energy in the highest expression is the energy of the spiritual teacher. Sagittarius loves exploring and going on journeys of the
Mhm.
mind, journeys of consciousness, but also long distance journeys. And I really associate Sagittarian energy with diversity. folks who have a strong Sagittarius presence in their chart, just in my experience, are very curious and especially curious about folks who are not like them. They're open minded. But on the flip side, the lower expression of Sagittarius is judgment and
Uh,
black and white thinking.
uh-huh.
So, um, they can be a lot, because it's mutable fire. So
Uh-huh.
fire is very helpful if you want to roast some marshmallows over a campfire or if you want to cook something, but fire can burn a house down. Fire can burn an entire forest down. And it's so funny. I think you're like the second person or maybe the third person who I've interviewed recently that has a Sagittarius moon. This is
Oh,
very interesting to me. And this also means that you possibly can get angry. So I'm
uh-huh.
curious, what's your relationship with your temper, but also how do you care for your emotional life with this Sagittarius moon?
So for the black and white thinking, I have that more to myself, like directed to myself when it's black and white.
Hmm.
And then the judgment, sometimes I can be judgmental, but then I always remember that if I'm judgmental about someone else, it always comes back to myself. So if you judge someone, you're really judging yourself. There's no reason to judge another person.
Well, do you have a temper?
A
Because,
temper.
yeah, Sagittarius can be explosive. It doesn't mean that you're always like that, but you're mutable, you're changeable. So,
Mhm.
would you say that you have changeable emotions? How does that work for you?
I would say that I'm very even keeled.
Hmm.
I don't have a temper. If someone cuts me off in traffic, I don't have road rage back. I'm able to like control my emotions. Sure, I fly off the handle occasionally. I'm human, but I would say for the most part, my emotions are in check. My anger is in check.
Amazing. That's you're Virgo. You're pretty even keeled. So what I'm curious about now though is Sagittarius energy is also associated with adventure, but
Right.
also
Hmm.
getting bored easily. Do you ever feel restless, like you need to do something, you need to go somewhere? How does that show up in your
I
life?
think I feel more adventurous than restless.
Hmm.
So being in Los Angeles, it's such an amazing city. There's pockets of culture all around you. You just have to want to explore it. It's all there. There's Thai town, there's Koreatown, there's Japanese town, there's the Pico Robertson. Like last night, I really was craving this Israeli restaurant, so I went and had a falafel, and they give
Mm,
you these little salads. They just bring them out, and they're always delicious. So you can feel like you're in Israel in this little tiny restaurant on Pico Boulevard. I found this Turkish restaurant that I'm obsessed with. He's from Turkey, the chef. It's a one-man show, no other employees, just him, open kitchen.
what?
And yeah, it's called
That's so
Sora
cool.
Kitchen. It's amazing. So I feel like I am curious, definitely. When I was at the hotel, they called me Jessicapedia because they didn't have to ask questions to the internet. They could just ask me and I had the answers to it.
I love it.
Yeah, I like researching things. I like connecting the dots. So do I get bored? I don't have a television in my new apartment.
Mhm.
I haven't picked up a book since I've been here. I just got one from the library. I don't know how I occupy my time, but I'm not bored.
I love it. All right. Well, now I have to peek at your chart. I have to see where your Mercury is because your
Okay.
Mercury is like how you think, how you perceive, how you speak. It's your learning style. Your Mercury is also in the sign of Virgo
Okay.
and it's in the first house. So your intellect is very much part of your energetic signature. When people first meet you, they get a sense of how smart you are immediately. So it does not surprise me at all that they called you Jessicapedia. That's pretty funny. That's awesome. All right. Well, so cool. This is fantastic. So let's see. You've been at the Sydenham Clinic for a
5
short
days.
time.
Yeah.
I know. Well, you've been talking to them for a while,
For
right? This
Yes.
has been in motion for a while. Well, so besides that, and I know this is a big thing, what else is going on in your life that you're super excited about that you can share with us?
Sure. So I've been involved with the David Lynch Foundation. They provide transcendental meditation to populations that have been through trauma.
Hmm.
So most recently, the fire survivors and the first responders. During COVID, they provided TM training to the nurses and frontline workers. They are very involved with the recovery community, with veterans, and I have been with them for 6 years. My teacher, Lynn Kaplan, who sadly is leaving the foundation to be closer to her family and moving to Iowa, she put me in contact with the David Lynch Foundation's film team, and I worked on a documentary about fire survivors and first responders and their relationship with transcendental meditation. And there were two short documentaries that I was the production coordinator slash producer on. When I got to Sydenham Clinic, that was the most recent thing that I had worked on. And it turns out that Anshul and her son both practice transcendental meditation. And Anshul
Okay.
actually lived with Maharishi, Mahesh Yogi. Yes,
So
when
cool.
she was growing up in New Delhi in India. And her grandfather was one of the trustees. So it's a lot of synergy, and like I connected those dots together. So yesterday we had the David Lynch Foundation New York team come to the Sydenham Clinic, and they all met, and it was just a great afternoon with a lot of synergy between them, and we're going to be working together. So that was really exciting. That happened yesterday.
I think I told you that my dad treated my mother and myself to a TM course. And I don't know what year this was. Maybe this was like 2013, 2014. This is when I was living in DC.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was awesome because I found meditation to be really challenging up until
Mm-hmm.
then. That
Right.
technique really just gave me a way to just lock into it. So
Mm-hmm.
I have mad respect for TM. So that's awesome that you're involved with the David Lynch Foundation. So keep me in the loop with
I will.
anything happening with them. And you definitely have to give me a list of these restaurants because my stomach is growling just listening to you talk about this Israeli food and this Turkish
It's
food.
called
Like,
Haifa. It's named after the city in Israel.
okay.
I just love that when you sit down, they just bring out these little salads. So, and it always rotates. So yesterday I got pickles. There was a cabbage salad. There was this like red one that was spicy. Not sure exactly what it was in it, but it was great.
Hmm.
And a green one that was also spicy. And then they give you pita bread, and I got the falafel sandwich. It's like homemade pita, had hummus in it. I got a Diet Coke and French fries. It was a perfect meal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, maybe you and I will just have to meet. We'll go have dinner.
Yeah.
We'll go have lunch.
Absolutely.
It'll be fun. All right. Well, so if people want to get in contact with you, perhaps some other grandchildren of
Mhm.
Holocaust survivors are watching this podcast, what's the best way for them to get in touch?
Yes. So my Instagram is probably the best way to reach me. I feature content about my travels, about where I'm working, about my grandparents, about my family, mostly about places that I've visited, focus on the cities. It's called the Concierge Connection.
Hmm.
And the cities that I visited, some people reach out to me if they needed recommendations, like they're going on a vacation to Fez, Morocco, and they want to know where to stay. And, I can recommend the places that I've been to and the restaurants that I've went to. So it's called the Concierge Connection,
I
all one
love
word.
it. Okay, fantastic. So we'll make sure to put that in the show notes.
Okay.
And then I ask every guest the same question at the
Mhm.
end of our interview. So, what are the cycles that you are starting in your lineages?
I think talking about my family's history,
Mhm.
especially with what's going on right now,
Yeah.
the last Holocaust survivors are probably going to pass within this year and next year. So my grandma was 93, and that was, 6 years ago. Just to make sure that the stories get passed on. And that was the mission of the Shoah Foundation that Steven Spielberg felt so passionate about, to interview every living Holocaust survivor, to tell their story so they don't go away and that future generations can learn from them. But what was so powerful about that initiative is they would have survivors go to schools all over the country, all over the world, to kind of talk about a firsthand experience to what they went through. And now that's not possible anymore. But I saw in 60 Minutes that somebody created an AI 3D version where you can have a full-blown conversation with a Holocaust survivor. You can ask them questions and they answer it back to you, and you feel like you're in that space. It was a really cool segment on 60 Minutes. This was like 2 years ago, so I'm not sure where it is or what happened to it, but I thought that it was interesting.
Okay, wonderful. Jessica, it has been such a pleasure talking to you. It's been a pleasure meeting you. And again, I really appreciate you being willing to have this conversation with me. I know that there are going to be folks in our community who are really touched by your story. So thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate you.
Thanks, girl. Well, we're going to see each other soon, I'm sure.
We'll go to the Turkish restaurant. It's so good.
My mouth is watering already.
Uh,
It sounds amazing. All right.
Amazing. Sora
Every
Kitchen.
Sora. Okay.
Sora Kitchen. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, take care. We will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Thanks, Jessica. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Heather. Bye.